Welcome along to Estoril for round one of the Euroformula Open season, race 2 of the weekend. Yesterday here at this 4.182 kilometre lap, you have to say that it was the Christian Mansell show. The young Australian drove into the distance and never even looked back once. He, of course, won't be on pole position for this one. We have the results from race 2. The results from race 1 making the grid for race 2 with the top 6 reversed. That means that it's going to be Alex Peroni of Drivex on pole position for this one. Christian Mansell will start from 6th position. He had a lightning start yesterday from the second row of the grid. He'll be looking to replicate it in this second race. He was with us last year in the championship, finished 11th in the championship in a part season schedule. He's taken a one off that at the moment, at least. As of now, he will be our championship leader, and he'll be looking to have a massive result, I'm sure, in race number 2. But George Morgan with me here in the commentary box. We've got to talk about Christian's form, because, I mean, he told us yesterday after the race, I didn't really push the car at all. He just drove off, and he seemed to be in a world of his own.
Oh, just love the confidence, Adam. And firstly, thank you ever so much for, obviously a wonderful broadcast yesterday. Christian Mansell, what can we say? An absolutely stunning, sensational performance, leading from the front. He got the best jump of all, leading it towards turn 1, took full advantage. He pretty much maintained a 3-second gap all the way around. He was absolutely sensational. But we've got to give a hat tip as well to Ollie Goethe as well after the... he just dropped down the field quite a bit, got eaten alive in the initial few laps, but then went on a mighty charge towards the end and managed to cultivate himself somewhat of a positive performance, nestling a P3 yesterday. Obviously, though, the grid's being reversed, so he's going to be in for another fight yet again today.
He is, and the fact that Alex Peroni is there on pole position could make things very entertaining. He launched up through the field in the early stages yesterday. He actually started dead last after a poor qualifying session, but he found himself right up there in the mid-pack and defending vigorously against the likes of Josh Mason and Ollie Goethe, who of course were our front row yesterday, and unfortunately both had very poor starts indeed. Peroni, who you see there heading towards his grid slot, almost an elder statesman of the Euroformula Open, if you can believe it. He's 22 years of age, and is joining us this year, having raced in Indy Lights in 2021. Got a podium over there in the United States, has been successful in quite a few different championships, race winner in various single-seater categories, and is taking a try at the Euroformula Open in 2022. Let's see if the well-decorated Aussie can try and hold on to the pole position and maybe convert it into a victory, if not a podium, by the time we see the checkered flag. It will be 35 minutes or 20 laps of racing. 20 laps is what you would expect. However, if there are significant delays, safety cars, etc., then we may see that bumped up, or rather minimized down to the 35-minute maximum duration. You see there alongside Peroni's car, as we will take a look at Peroni's car first of all, and he'll be rather happy with this, because pole position today after yesterday, he's going to feel like his fortunes have turned significantly.
Well, he's seen all areas of the grid now. He started from the back yesterday, and now he's at the front, so he's got to see everything right now. There's the number 78 car donned by Frederick Lubin. Of course, the young British driver looking to once again be tenacious here today. No doubt in with a midfield scrap yesterday. We'll be hoping that he's not going to be thrown in the same pit again today, but we will wait and see. There is the Van Amersfoort car, as driven by Sebastian Ogard. He, of course, was also part of that scrap. Remember, there was 3 VAR cars involved in that initial fight in the first sector. Unfortunately, Ugran ended up in the gravel trap. There's Ollie Goethe, of course, who was also in the midst of his own fight, but managed to make a gargantuan comeback to nestle in a P3 spot. So well done him. Now starting from P4, he's going to be looking for a better launch here today. And don't write him off, to say the least. Number 69 car, Vladislav Lomko. And Adam, he was sensational yesterday.
Vlad really was on form yesterday. Second place, the rookie class runner in his first ever Euroformula race. And Christian Mansell, the man who took the win with aplomb yesterday, will be starting from P6. He'll be looking for another lightning launch, as we alluded to a few moments ago. This man, Josh Mason, will have been so disappointed yesterday to finish P7. We thought he might have had clutch issues, but he's referred to it exclusively as a stall. So maybe it was not down to the car. Nonetheless, Josh will be eager to get a better start today and try and carve his way through the order. Nicola Marinangeli, meanwhile, starting from 8th position. We'll see how the young Italian can do. His countryman, Francesco Simonazzi, is next on the grid. Nico Pino follows him as well in 10th place, the Chilean driver. And he is a relaxed figure in the paddock, isn't he, Nicolas Pino?
He is. I've met him a couple of times now. Met him yesterday in the paddock. Obviously just going through the motions, taking his time. He's looking for some improvement. He said we'll learn from the initial races. No doubt he'll put all of it into practice here today. So keep your eyes on Nicolas Pino. Hopefully we'll be making some moves from P10. There's Alex Garcia in 11th place. The young Mexican, the young Italian, sorry, starting from his young Mexican, sorry, me reading the flags wrong, terrible. VAR there in P4, number 14, Philip Ugran, the man who took a trip into the gravel trap yesterday, and the Romanian will be looking to obviously improve as well. But no doubt Van Amersfoort have high hopes for their 3 drivers here today.
Couldn't spare us a wave. I think he'll be on the hunt come this one after the collision between he and his teammates. So some highlights from race 1. This is what we were talking about with Josh Mason. He got an appalling start at the beginning of the race. Goethe didn't do much better, so he was down the order. Here's Philip Ugran's race ending just 2 corners in, and that brought out the safety car. You'll note it was Van Amersfoort on Van Amersfoort friendly fire, unfortunately, that ended Philip Ugran's race. Oliver Goethe was making his way through the order. There he is, getting past Alex Peroni, who was really the cork in the bottle in the mid-pack for a while. He's going to be right at the front today. Goethe continued to hunt as he passed through the field. This was him getting past Fred Lubin to make his way up to 3rd place. Lubin was holding off Seb Ogard for a while, but eventually Ogard got through, and in turn Goethe managed to get past Sebastian Ogard as well for that 3rd position. Christian Mansell it was, though, that claimed the win. A rather distant 2nd place for Vladislav Lomko, and celebrations for the Australian driver yesterday. Let's see if he's going to taste that success and lift that trophy today. There you go, race number 2. We're a few moments away from sending the cars out on the formation lap. Here's the starting grid in full one more time. Alex Peroni is our pole sitter for today. Fred Lubin alongside him. Sebastian Ogard on the 2nd row of the grid, and Oliver Goethe, an all-Danish 2nd row. Row 3, meanwhile, will be Vladislav Lomko alongside Christian Mansell, the 2 drivers from Crypto Tower Racing Team. The other Crypto Tower car, Josh Mason, is in 7th, and Van Amersfoort Racing's Nicola Marinangeli in 8th place. P9 was Francesco Simonazzi in the BVM Racing 84. Nicolas Pino in the number 67, the sister DriveX car in 10th place. Alex Garcia of Team Motopark in 11th, and Philip Ugran will be happy just to see the flag at the end of this one from 12th place. At least he hasn't got any of his teammates nearby on this occasion. I did notice that Sebastian Ogard has a new bare carbon fibre helmet. Now, George, you and I were around the Van Amersfoort boys for a bit on Thursday, and on Thursday he had a very nice painted lid. He also walked past the helmet shop and got very excited about a model they had just gotten in stock, and I think he's made a purchase since Thursday.
I think he has. We did see them, all 3 of them, around the merchandise bay, and was just watching them. They were taking great interest in the helmets they had on offer. I know that the team boss, Danielle Giel, was there as well, just watching everything go on, obviously trying to keep her boys in check. But nevertheless, I'm sure that they'll be pulling off a good performance. Hopefully the new helmet can give him some new omens, hopefully give him maybe a better, certainly a better performance here today as well. Obviously Van Amersfoort have some very talented youngsters in their tutorship at the moment, so we're looking forward to seeing how they get on. Ollie Goethe, you can see in the background in the famous Golf livery. As we said again, obviously donned by the McLaren last season in Formula 1 at Monaco. and now being done here once again in race 2 here at Estoril as they now warm up the tyres. You can see them making sure the heat is getting transferred into those compounds, making sure the grip. There's Christian Mansell looking set to maybe get away really strongly yet again. And the blazing orange and black of the Van Amersfoort cars ahead of Ollie Goethe as they now round the next left-hander very shortly. And I have to say, where's your money going on this one, Adam?
Well, I'm not sure where my money's going. I'm also not sure where the second half of the field is, because Christian Mansell from 6th back, there's a huge gap between Mansell and everyone else in this formation lap. I'm not sure where they've all gone, but we'll have to wait and see. As for where my money goes, I will try and make a prediction as best I can. Based on the efforts from yesterday, this man, Oliver Goethe, has to strike me as the hot favourite. He was pole sitter yesterday, didn't get the start he wanted, ended up down outside the top 6, fought his way back valiantly to 3rd position. And I reckon that we could see the Gulf colours arrive at the pit lane first, potentially, but he's going to have to make his way through quite a field of drivers. He passed all of them yesterday, lest we forget. He got past all 3 of the drivers ahead of him in yesterday's race. But when you're at the sharp end, the overtaking gets a lot harder because the elbows are out that little bit further. Alex Peroni, such an experienced driver, you'd hope, you'd expect that he will get a good getaway and he'll be right there at the sharp end for the duration. Let's see if the Australian driver can hold on to this one. But it's surely going to be Oliver Goethe who is the primary danger man, so long as he gets a good launch.
Yeah, absolutely. Peroni now lining up onto his grid position. So is Frederick Lubin alongside 68, 78, alongside each other. Sebastian Ogier and Ollie Goethe in behind. Let's see if this start is a lot different than last time. There's the BVM car. Francesco Simonazzi setting up. Charismatic figure himself too. Quiet across the grid as we get ready for the start.
Yes, the still air of Portugal is not going to be still for much longer because the revs are rising. The lights will go on and they're immediately off. A very short hold, and Goethe, I think, caught by surprise there. He has had another poor start, unfortunately lit up the rears. No such problems for Alex Peroni though, who leads into turn 1 and up to 4th place, almost 3rd place already, is yesterday's winner, Christian Mansell. Everyone through turn 1 cleanly. No repeats of 3 wide at turn 2, thankfully, but Goethe under fire there from Nicola Marinangeli. He's falling through the pack again, unfortunately. I think that's Marinangeli anyway, but no question over who's leading by quite some way. It's Peroni and Christian Mansell wasting no time, looking likely at turn 4, trying to find a way up and past the number 78 of Frederick Lubin. But I feel so sorry for Oliver Goethe because 2 races in a row he's really struggled to get the car off the line. He's now under fire from Simonazzi and falling through the order.
Yeah, and Alex Peroni getting a great start too, and he moves on by about wide there, the Van Amersfoort car further down. But let's just have a look at this. We've got Francesco Simonazzi right at the bottom. Oh, slow car there too. Now, which one's that? We can't quite see, but it's being dropped off. Is it Alex Garcia?
No, it was either Lubin or Marinangeli. I think it may have been Lubin. No. Yes, Lomko, Vladislav Lomko in the 69 car, and also slowing is Marinangeli. So Marinangeli's now had a problem. Lomko came through slow at sector 2, all kicking off then for both of those drivers. Mechanical issues on the first lap, dramas on the first lap. Second place then, Sebastian Ogier. He has already lost track with Alex Peroni. Peroni's off into the distance, and Ogier goes defensive. Here comes Fred Lubin. Lubin up the inside, and Frederick Lubin gets up to P2. But Ogier taking the long way round, and well, he's back into second place, but surely he just defended the position by running off track. I can't imagine that's going to be looked on too fondly. Oliver Goethe, he's up against Christian Mansell. He's already back up to 5th place. Very well done, Ollie, to get back up into P5 this early on. And Christian Mansell isn't going to be best pleased with that sight. The driver he didn't have to contend with yesterday is already in his rearview mirrors, and Mansell hasn't been able to get any further than 4th yet. He sees the threat. He goes to the inside at Parabolica Interior, and he holds on to P4 for now. But look at Goethe with the cutback. It's side by side between them as they head to T7 Arella. Mansell on the inside, Goethe on the outside. It's only ever going to go one way at that particular corner. Mansell holds on to 4th place, and Goethe looking feisty in 5th.
Yeah, heading up through Gancho now. Mansell holding on to his position. Currently in fourth. Goethe is going to want to tag him back later on. You can see the BVM car as well in behind of Simonazzi coming in to join the fight too, with Josh Mason having a better start today. No such issues with the stall here today. Got off the line cleanly and now fighting in the midfield as well. But no disputing the leader right now. Peroni with the fastest lap and has advanced out by 2.1 seconds. Doing an excellent job. Ogard in behind him in P2 with Frederick Lubin in third too. Christian Mansell there in fourth as well, with Goethe in behind as well. Mason having a little nose down the inside of Simonazzi just to have a nice clear view of turn one. Maybe an omen for an overtake still to come, as there you can see them all chopping and changing, moving on in tandem. A little lock up there in P2 from Ogard, but they're all okay.
Nicola Marinangeli, we just saw rejoining the race after whatever was going on with him in 12th place. So the 22 car is back underway now. Incident involving car 69 under investigation. That's Vladislav Lomko. I did wonder whether something had happened to Lomko. I was a bit busy trying to figure out who was dropping through the timing screen, so I might have missed something you guys saw at home. But Marinangeli and Lomko both having issues on that first lap. There's a little bit of Van Amersfoort warfare going on further back, albeit one of the drivers is a lap down, so Philippe Augrand shouldn't really be defending against Nicola Marinangeli because there's a lap between them. There you see the bulletin. The incident involving car 69 is under investigation, so Vlad Lomko, whatever caused him to drop through the order, is being investigated.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm sure we'll get some news on that very, very soon. Alex Peroni still in front. The gap now coming down by a tenth. It's now 2 seconds between Peroni and Ogard. Frederick Lubin has got a bigger problem. Mansell in behind him, under 4/10 of a second, not too far away. You can see them there in camera shot, leading down through towards turn one, past the paddock. Mansell, I'm sure, looking for another podium. He's already secured a win this weekend. He would like another one to add to the tally, that's for sure. Round turn one now, as they do execute it brilliantly. A little twitchy there from Mansell, as he just rubbed over the curb slightly. Goethe in behind him as well. Simonazzi trying to get back into the fight, has dropped off just a slight little bit, but still there, as you can now see Mansell. Car number 71, blazing, currently stuck in behind that of Frederick Lubin, who I'm sure is going to make his life as difficult as possible.
Heartily agree with that last statement there, George. Christian Mansell, he's really going to be hoping Oliver Goethe doesn't try and attack, because he'll want to pick his way through the order. It's this classic debate. Once you go on the offensive, when someone's right behind you, you can very quickly end up on the defensive immediately thereafter. And that's what Mansell's having to contend with at the moment, as he tries to close in on Frederick Lubin down there in third place. Sebastian Ogard, incidentally, setting the fastest laps of the race at the moment, going purple sectors, pushing on. He's trying to reel in Alex Peroni to challenge for the win. The gap between Peroni and Ogard at the last sector split is 1.8 seconds, so there's a lot of time to make up, but there's also a lot of time left in the race to do just that. So let's keep an eye on that top two as well. There's Philippe Augrand on his recovery drive through the order after yesterday's dramas. Oliver Goethe out of the parabolic at Ayrton Senna. And let's take a look at the replay of the restart. That's not going to be good viewing for everyone associated with Rofco and indeed Motor Park. It was not a good launch at all from Oliver Goethe. But there is Peroni just gapping the remainder of the field. And there you see the Motor Park team reacting to that unfortunate start from Goethe, but he picked his way through the order well, and there is the moment between Lomko and Marinangeli. Okay, so there was contact between them. I didn't think there was contact at that point at turn 6, but there was, and that would explain, more than likely, both of their absences. As you see, there's some fighting going on further back in the pack with Ogard and Lubin as well in that replay. It was a dramatic first couple of laps. We now retroactively see exactly what happened between Lomko and Marinangeli, and there's going to be lots of unrest, isn't there, between those two, because that was a little bit clumsy at T6.
It certainly was indeed, and it would have pushed the drivers to their maximum limits. Obviously, all of them want to get the best positions available to them, but not to the detriment of their own results, of course. Don't forget, we've got stewards here working hard this weekend, and no doubt any moves found to be unsavoury, they will be punished. Ogard, though, in second place, the rookie driver, doing well, reeling him in, so to speak, on Alex Peroni, has gone fastest of all in Sector 1, losing it slightly. Well, actually, no, he's gained in Sector 2, approximately a tenth better as we now look at the pictures of Frederick Lubin and Christian Mansell with Olli Goethe coming through out of Gancio corner with the BVM car of Francesco Simonazzi, the Italian, coming up through Gancio. That nice incline. I say nice incline, it can be a bit testing, certainly if you're in the car running over those curbs. They can unsettle you, as we're now watching Peroni, Ogard, Lubin, Mansell with the fastest lap so far, and 4/10 back from Lubin. Cannot quite reel in the deficit though. He's getting close, but just can't find enough to get close down the home straight.
No, that's the thing. I mean, we've got to remember as well, there are other overtaking opportunities on the circuit. We were caught by surprise a couple of times with some bold moves at turn 6. No further action in the investigation between the two Van Amersfoort cars, Vladislav Lomko and Nicola Marinangeli, so they've decided racing incident on that count in the race control office, as Goethe looking quite close to Mansell at the moment. Obviously T7 not likely to be a move from that range, but keep an eye on the Gulf liveried car of Oliver Goethe. Let's see if he can challenge. Also, Fred Lubin not a million miles ahead of Christian Mansell, so that pack looking racy. There is the 68 car of Alex Peroni, the race leader. The gap was 1.8 seconds about 2 laps ago. It's now 1.4, so Ogard definitely closing in. Lubin may come under fire here, although Mansell and Goethe not that close as they come through the Parabolica Ayrton Senna. As you say, George, it's just a matter of getting close enough. Of course, the aero wash around corners like the S's and the Parabolica Ayrton Senna make it very difficult going when they're trying to close in the main straight.
Yeah, we have confirmation as well, no further action on Vladislav Lomko and Nicola Marinangeli. The stewards have decided no further investigation is necessary, and so they can focus on back to racing as usual. The gap between Ogard and Peroni being reeled in though once again into the 1.3s now. It's come down by 7/10 in the last few laps, so Ogard is on a mission. He is looking to try and certainly usurp that of Alex Peroni, currently on top right now, has done 6 laps in the lead. Can Ogard put a spoke in the wheel at this stage? Can he keep reeling him in? Certainly Mansell himself 3/10 back from Frederick Lubin, who's in 3rd place, with Goethe as well in behind us. Adam quite rightly says, look out for that Golf livery, because it is going to be very potent indeed here in this race. We saw it yesterday, the sheer rise that came through from yesterday, as now we're watching the cars now round through out of turn 6, out of turn 7, now up towards turn 8, leading up towards the Gancio corners. Still now Peroni on top, further down Mansell. This is a great opportunity for these cars out of Gancio. One mistake and it leaves you vulnerable heading down this home straight.
Goethe there looking quite strong as he bounced through Gancio. You mentioned the incline there. We saw yesterday that some people were having to use their e-scooters as actual scooters. The motors weren't strong enough to drag them up the hill. The motors in these Dallara 320s more than strong enough as they head down the main straight. And let's take another look here at Mansell bouncing over the curbs. Goethe was very close coming through 9 and 10, but I think he just took too much curb. He was close coming onto the main straight as well, but I don't think he'd have been close enough for a move. However, as I say that, the move has been made. I was a bit worried as we went to replay, and Goethe has moved up to 4th position. There you go, Oliver Goethe. We just cut back in time to see it at turn 1. A great move, I'm sure, as he dived up the inside. And Goethe in the 96 is up to 4th place, and Christian Mansell will not be impressed with that. He was trying to get himself into the podium positions, but now Goethe is through, and let's see how he did it. He looked to the inside, he kind of sold the dummy a bit there. It looked like it was going to be a false move, and then he actually went and did it, and he's up to 4th place. Great driving from Olli Goethe. Let's go get that podium.
Yeah, well, if we know anything about Goethe, we saw it all happen yesterday. Remember, his gargantuan rise back to the top. He, of course, scuppered a little bit from the start, dropped down through the field, but has managed to cultivate yet again another brilliant overtake, this time on Christian Mansell, quite right, selling the dummy in towards turn 1. But Mansell, I'm sure, he will be back again. We all know the charismatic young Australian. He is absolutely tenacious. We know his character. He's a driven human being, much like the way he drives this car, and you just see him there twitching as he comes through this next right-hander. He is going full send, Adam.
He is, but he's also dropped off the back of Goethe. He's also got to worry about Simonazzi behind him. So Christian Mansell is looking less likely for a podium than he was a couple of laps ago. That much is for sure. We are on lap 9 of the race now. 8 laps already in the books here. car 25, Sebastian Ogard, must give the position back to car 78, Fred Lubin. Now, I said this at the time at turn 1. Ogard seemingly lost the place to Lubin, but then he just went all the way around the outside, sailing off on the runoff at turn 1. And I did speculate at the time that that might be looked upon harshly, and sure enough, Ogard has to give the position back, but Oliver Goethe is right there behind Fred Lubin, so Sebastian Ogard is going to have to time this very well indeed, not to lose not just second, but also third.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling that they need a straight, really, to make it happen. I mean, at the end of the day, though, any situation is not a good situation, because Goethe is coming hightailing virtually around this next ride. Look at him, he's already on the rear wing of Frederick Lubin. So as they now rise up through Gancho, what are they going to do? Are they going to make the swap now down the home straight? Surely it's going to allow Goethe to come into the fight. Here they come now, they make the change, and there you can see Goethe having a look. He smells blood as they head through the Parabolica under Ayrton Senna now, down through towards the straight. There you can see them. Ogard giving the position back to Lubin, side by side now, here between Ollie Goethe, as they now make their way past the paddock, the grandstand on the left-hand side. It's Ollie Goethe going for that P3 spot, another podium on the table. Here's Mansell heading in towards turn 1 as well, also wants to get involved, but no, it's only Goethe, Ollie Goethe, he's in P3.
I thought Ogard had timed that quite well, but Goethe had other ideas. He's up to P3. Look at Mansell, he's under threat from Simonazzi. Oh, I thought they were going to meet there in the worst possible circumstances, but just about avoided each other. Mansell, as you said, he took his opportunity there as well. Goethe and Ogard were basically side by side for the Parabolica Ayrton Senna. They held themselves up. It gave Christian Mansell the opportunity he needed to go on the offensive, but now Simonazzi is trying to get around yesterday's race winner, Christian Mansell, having a very hectic race, but he's not having the race I think he'd want.
No, not at all. I think he would have wanted better, especially after winning in such dominant fashion yesterday. I think he would have fancied a move at the paddock. He loves it. He loves it. It's a lot of fun for Christian Mansell. We all know him. Bubble of energy, certainly, as they now come up through Gancho. Here comes Simonazzi down the inside up through Gancho corner. That was unsuspected. It was rude, but here comes now Josh Mason in for the fight as well. He comes in and joins Simonazzi. It was unsuspected, brave, but brilliant.
That was set up a couple of corners before it turned 7 Arella. Christian Mansell really had to fight the car at T7, and well, he's lost place as a result of that. We're now getting a replay of Goethe going all the way around the outside of Parabolica Ayrton Senna, out dragging the number 25 car. Mansell also trying to get hold of 3rd place, and he's now dropped to 8th since this replay took place. So Christian Mansell we saw there, as now Mason and Simonazzi going at it, and Josh Mason has moved up to 5th place there. Simonazzi in 6th, and there's Ugran trying to go all the way around the outside. Philip Ugran is also ahead of Christian Mansell now. We're going to get a look at this. Josh Mason got a fabulous run off the final corner, got to the inside of Simonazzi and managed to get hold of 5th place. I think both of them a little bit brave on the brakes there. Both of them run off the circuit. We'll have to see how that's looked at, as Oliver Goethe up the inside at turn 6 at Parabolica Interior. He is up to 2nd place. It's all change. Who says that single-seaters can't overtake at Estoril? This has been another fabulous race in Euroformula Open. Oliver Goethe up to 2nd place. Frederick Lubin down to 3rd. Meanwhile, Josh Mason up into the top 5. Simonazzi there in 6th. Ugran in 7th, and Christian Mansell all the way down to 8th place. A momentary mistake at turn 7, a couple of snatches at the wheel was all it took for him to lose 3 spots all in one go, and Goethe has gained another. The question is, can Oliver Goethe, in the remaining half a race that we have to go here, close in on our erstwhile race leader, Alex Peroni?
This is his style, Adam. We saw it yesterday. He reeled them in yesterday. Can he apply the same thing? He who dares wins at the end of the day. Further back, you can see the likes of Christian Mansell, who's now currently stuck right in behind a bit of a train with Philip Ugran, Francesco Simonazzi, pretty much the cork in the bottle between those three, as then they're rounding the next right-hander now. now. Certainly you can see the BVM car with lit up in behind Philip Ugran, Christian Mansell, who doesn't want to be stuck in behind these right now. Still no change at the front though. It's Alex Peroni. Goethe though reeling him in again, has gone quicker in the first sector by near enough just over a tenth of a second, so he is pushing Goethe on a charge. Frederick Lubin has dropped back to nearly 9/10 of a second off Ollie Goethe, with Sebastian Ogard now starting to close on him. A little luck here this time from Philip Ugran on Francesco Simonazzi. That BVM twitching now with that car in behind, but nevertheless still plenty of time left. Could we see a battle between Peroni and Goethe at the end here, Adam?
We could well, keeping an eye on Goethe's split times, and he's taking it down 10th on 10th, sector on sector. I think he might be about half a second quicker a lap all told at this stage. So let's see what Oliver Goethe can do in the remaining what's effectively now 8 laps of this race. Time not necessarily on his side, but speed could well be. Here's Peroni. We haven't actually seen him in a while, but yes, he is in fact still there at the head of the order, the Australian driver. Goethe in second position, 2.4 seconds back, and he's also just set his personal best lap of the race, a 1:29.783, which is within a tenth of the fastest lap we've seen from anybody. Christian Mansell has really dropped off the back of Philip Ugran as we look back to this 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th situation. And to your point as well, George, the point you made quite a lot earlier in the race, Mansell does look like he's struggling for traction at certain corners. I wonder if maybe they've just gone in the wrong direction with the car a bit today.
They might well have done, but Christian Mansell could not speak more highly of the setup they had yesterday.
Yeah.
He felt the setup yesterday was perfect. He was happy with the car. We spoke to him actually afterwards as well. He was delighted with the performance. Great car, he said. Unfortunately, today seems like a bit of a different story. Currently sat in P8 and stuck in behind Philip Ugran. I just want to make a point about Ollie Goethe. You're absolutely right. Near enough half a second a lap. Remember, that deficit was near enough 4 seconds earlier on. It's now 2.3, folks. He is absolutely flying. He's nearly half the deficit already. Peroni, I've got to say, he's got to push.
Of course, once he gets closer to the back of Peroni, he will start to experience the dirty air. However, we've seen Goethe rise above that on several occasions so far in this race and yesterday's. He's made neither race particularly easy for himself off the line, but the subsequent performances have been stellar from Oliver Goethe. The gap will be down again. Yes, 1.8 seconds now the gap. It's coming down, and the young Dane, born in London, also claimed German citizenship. He's a man of culture from various different countries, depending on who you ask. But Goethe flying under the Danish flag. Incredible driver. We've seen him do some brilliant stuff, and he's also sort of bringing Fred Lubin with him as well. Lubin's going quicker than Peroni, so if Oliver Goethe and Alex Peroni start to really fight each other, who knows? Frederick Lubin could still be a contender for victory here too.
Certainly could be. Wouldn't write him off. He's still in the fight. The deficit now between Peroni and Goethe, 1.6 seconds. Wowee, it is coming down by the moment. There is Goethe now round this next left. Car number 96 now, letting fly here at Alex Peroni. As you can now see him, he's getting closer and closer in the backdrop. In behind, you can see Frederick Lubin joining the party as well with Sebastian Ogard. Josh Mason, a better drive today. A superb drive. 5th place currently as well. Recovering well after yesterday to get a good start today. And now a Gancho corner rise now here from Ollie Goethe. 1.1. Look at it cascading downwards here for Ollie Goethe. Getting closer to Alex Peroni. A last lap scrap. That's what we like to see. He might get it done before then, to be honest with you. He might get it done within the next 2 laps for all we know.
Yes, well, he's certainly going to be right on about a second back now once we cross the line. He's been making up time systematically, and the gap between them is now under a second, 0.953, and Oliver Goethe on that last lap set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:29.564 for Ollie Goethe as he continues to press and push up against Alex Peroni. It's Australia versus Denmark, Peroni versus Goethe, and Drivex versus Motorpark This is going to be a compelling scrap between the two. Here's the confirmation that you see on screen of Goethe in his fastest lap. He continues to press. He's already taken another 2/10 out of Peroni just in the first sector. It's almost corner on corner. He's making up hundredths, if not tenths of a second. And Peroni is going to be watching that Gulf livery car in the mirrors, getting closer and closer. And he's going to know that he's going to have a fight on his hands because he had to deal with Oliver Goethe yesterday too. Yesterday, Goethe came out on top.
He did, and Ollie Goethe once again, he set a purple in sector 1 on this lap. He's now brought it into 7.5 tenths of a second. He's the sole man in the 129s in certainly in race laps right now. So he's doing a sterling job, rising up through Gancho corner. Big chance maybe heading around the Parabolica Ayrton Senna. Should he get a lovely exit down the home straight? Can he get close enough? It's down to half a second now of 43.7. So he's 2/10 of a second quicker, 2.5 tenths quicker than that of Alex Peroni out of sector 2 as he now crossed the line. And you could see Alex Peroni smells it. He knows he's in danger. Weaves to the inside. Ollie Goethe getting closer and closer by the moment. And Peroni immediately darts to the inside. A little bit of puff from the back of the car as he now looks to try and defend against the approaching Ollie Goethe. We're in for a big flavour of a fight here, Adam.
We are. Alex Peroni there, I'm not sure he needed to go quite as defensive as he did. I think he cost himself a bit of time there, but it's all just the numbers now because here comes Oliver Goethe. He's firmly approaching the gearbox of Alex Peroni. Through turn 4 they go. Peroni takes a wider berth at the apex, gets a better launch out of the corner, but the slipstream may still work against him as they approach turn 6. I don't think Goethe's close enough, but let's keep an eye on it. Peroni does not feel the need to go defensive on that occasion. Goethe, though, look at this. He's been smooth through turn 6 all day long. We've seen him make moves there. Here we go to turn 7, Arella. You get the feeling it's going to be corners. Oh, contact between them. Ollie Goethe tried to cut to the inside, but he did not succeed in doing so. Well, he did. He's through to the lead, but he's taken Alex Peroni out in the process and broken the rear wing of Peroni's car. That will be looked on very harshly, I'm sure, and also his front wing will be damaged. So Goethe and Peroni certainly going to be investigated, and potentially both cars could go not much further. In fact, the front wing is held on rather nicely there, and you can see already that the incident is under investigation. I'm afraid Oliver Goethe there, I don't think that's going to be a terribly long investigation.
Yeah, it was a bit, I'm not sure, a bit of hesitation. Did he need to make the move? There's action at the back as well. We could see further on that Christian Mansell coming into the scrap 2 as he rounded to turn 1. It's Josh Mason heading around turn 1. Sorry, not Christian Mansell. Josh Mason looking to make moves, but no, not this time. Wasn't quite able to pull anything off. The BBM car also in the midst of a scrap 2. That being Simonazzi, as we're now seeing Alex Peroni trying to fend off the approaching Josh Mason at this point. But the question is there any damage to Ollie Goethe's car? I know it may look straight, but we'll have to have a look at the delta. Can Frederick Lubin take advantage at this point? Here's the replay. Goethe, the immediate switch, just a little bit too late. You can see the rear wing there on Alex Peroni's car, all bent out of shape. That's going to affect the aero. The onlookers in the garage. Oh, there you have it. Not happy whatsoever. The shock across the faces, hands to faces. Yeah. That's going to be a very questionable talk in the garage afterwards there, Adam.
Oh, yes, and I think the DriveX team said it best with the numerous expressions. Goethe is into the lead, but I dare suggest that potential front wing damage will be the least of his issues. Peroni seems to be persevering nicely in spite of the rear wing damage. I do wonder whether he may get a black and orange flag, but it actually looks fairly stable in its position. So maybe, just maybe, he will be allowed to keep going. Mason chasing down the rather skew-whiff Alex Peroni's car at the moment, and Mason not been able to get through yet. A top 4 finish would be good and very handy for the young Brit if he can get past Peroni. Ogard there in 3rd place, leading this queue of cars. It's Ogard in 3rd, then Peroni, Mason, Ugran and Simonazzi 3rd through 7th, all in one pack, and Christian Mansell has unfortunately dropped well back in 8th place now and is looking like he might be scrapping with Nicolas Pino. He's certainly not quite got the same car underneath him today, seemingly. Peroni, though, persevering with this rear wing damage. I'm rather surprised he didn't come in, but he's determined to get that flag, isn't he?
Well, at the end of the day, he can only do what he can. He's out on track. Josh Mason, though, getting closer, 3/10 is all that separates that pairing. And he's getting closer by the moment as well, as we're now watching what looks to be the car number 78, that of course being Frederick Lubin, who's actually marching out, so no concerns as far as Ollie Goethe is concerned. He's still got a perfectly working car. It's in good order. If anything, he's advancing the delta gap between him and Lubin, so no concerns in terms of Goethe's camp right now. Obviously, that will all be decided. In fact, we've got a 5-second penalty that's going to be given to Ollie Goethe as a result of the incident. So that's the decision, causing a collision, say the stewards. So Ollie Goethe slapped with a 5-second time penalty. No wonder he's pushing, Adam.
Well, no wonder he's pushing, but with the pace he's setting, I think he's probably going to get that 5 seconds underneath him before the end of the race, unless Fred Lubin starts to really press on. 4.2 seconds, so Goethe now racing the clock and gaining tenths on tenths, sector on sector, as he did previously up against Pironi. The 5-second time penalty, he could well beat that, you know. It's going to be quite interesting and down to the wire. It's going to be almost a virtual race, as it were. Fred Lubin will no doubt be getting the hurry up now. Push, push, push. But can anyone push as hard as Oliver Goethe today? That 5-second penalty, I thought it might be a little more intense than that, but has given Oliver Goethe an opportunity to potentially preserve his race victory. He's clearly going to cross the line first on the road, all being well. The question is he going to cross the line 5 seconds clear of Fred Lubin?
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's going to be interesting. Still at 4.3, nearly 4.4 at this point. Oh, dearie me, that's a car going a bit squirrely. That's Philip Ugran losing it slightly, and it's left him on a plate for Francesco Simonazzi. The BVM car now moving ahead and taking 6th place, and certainly a moment that he would want to forget there, Philip Ugran. And obviously, the Van Amersfoort team will be a little bit gutted, I think, that he's lost that space. But Simonazzi now up into 6th. The question is, can Ugran tag him back, heading through the main straight? There you can see Josh Mason still stuck in behind Alex Pironi right now. And that gap has actually advanced out, so despite the aero issues involved with that rear wing, Pironi's still doing well, has managed to march 3/10 on top of where he was between him and Mason. Incredible.
4.903 seconds already, make that 5.2 seconds between Goethe and Lubin. So Goethe, as it stands, would indeed cross the line and take the win in spite of the 5-second penalty. It's Ugran versus Simonazzi at turn 1. Ugran wants the position back. He wants 6th place if he possibly can, but he's not able to do it just yet. Simonazzi and Ugran fighting. Christian Mansell closing in. He's thinking to himself, okay, well, if I can salvage a top 6 out of this, courtesy of you guys having a scrap, I'll gladly do it. Goethe just has to push on for a couple of more sectors, and he will across the line to take the win. Provisional classifications, of course, I'm sure there may be further discussion. Certainly there will be protests from DriveX after this race. I think we have to acknowledge the inevitable there, but for now, Goethe coming around turns 7, 8, 9 and 10. He'll come up through the Gancho chicane for the final time, and he will cross the line first. He will win. It will be somewhere around 5.5 seconds. However, actually it'll be almost 6 seconds. He's been on another rapid fire lap here on the final lap at Estoril. In spite of the 5-second penalty, it will be Oliver Goethe who claims the win he will feel he could have had in race 1. He's claimed it in race 2, and he's well clear of the pack. Goethe crossing the line for the win. Coming 2nd place will be Fred Lubin. Then Sebastian Ogard will be our pole sitter in race 3. He finishes 3rd place. Pironi, despite the dislodged rear wing, taking 4th place. Josh Mason 5th. Francesco Simonazzi held off Philip Ugran for 6th place. 7th Ugran. 8th, Christian Mansell. Nicolas Pino finishing 9th, and just crossing the line now, Alex Garcia in 10th place. Of course, Vladislav Lomko in a collision with Nicola Marinangeli earlier on. He's way off the pack, but he will cross the line 11th. Marinangeli did not see the finish. That was a dramatic race. Oliver Goethe, by what was eventually 1.2 seconds with the penalty applied, has taken the win. But regardless of the incident with Peroni, we have to acknowledge Oliver Goethe, a class of his own in terms of pace this weekend.
He's been extraordinary. Like I say, earlier on, we saw a taste of it yesterday when he had to pull back from the midfield point, should we say. He was right in the scrap, but yeah, obviously his pace is undeniable. We've just seen it now, managing to cultivate a great result. Obviously, despite the incidents that happened earlier on, I'm sure we'll take a look at it again later on, but Frederick Lubin as well, taking another second place. Sebastian Ogard in third too. What about Alex Peroni, though? He's going to be absolutely devastated as what could have been, but here are the results. Oliver Goethe is the winner today for Team Moto Park, takes top orders with Frederick Lubin in second. Also of Team Motor Park, Sebastian Ogard lined up in third with Van Amersfoort Racing, Alex Peroni and DriveX in fourth, Josh Mason in fifth, Francesco Simonazzi and BVM in sixth. Further down, you got Philip Ugrand in seventh, Christian Mansell, not quite the Cinderella story from yesterday, he's in P8. Nicholas Pino finished in P9 with Alex Garcia finishing in P10. Vladislav Lomko finished in P11 with Nicola Marinangeli out of the race due to an earlier issue.
And here's the championship standings after that one. Oliver Goethe on 43 points as it stands. Christian Mansell will be really disappointed with today's points haul in race 2 at least. 29 points, 14 back. Him, Lubin and Ogard all pretty much consecutive there in second, third and fourth in the points. It's going to be very interesting, isn't it, by the time we get out of race 3 to see where these drivers will be in the championship headed to the next round next weekend at Po. Of course, they've got one more race here at Estoril to contend with first. Just the 2 races at Po, including the 79th Po Grand Prix, which will be officially awarded to the winner of race 2. There's Ollie Goethe. He's happy with that one. Punches the air. His first win in Euroformula Open. And it was a really stellar performance. Not so good at getting out of the car, but certainly it was a good race. Stuart Hall gives him the embrace. Nico there filming the moment as well. In fact, no, I think that might have been Jamie. Sorry, Jamie, that's you. Jamie and Nico do look quite similar. I noticed this earlier. But the team supporting him, Rofco and Moto Park, delighted with that result.
Yeah, you can just see them there, all celebrating with their teams. Ollie Goethe no denying his pace here today, as we've seen it all weekend so far. It's been absolutely sensational. He and his team could certainly enjoy this moment, and certainly I'm sure they'll discuss the incident as well.
Yeah.
Nico there just went, "You scarred our nice car," Oliver.
I don't know if he moved, but it looked like it.
Just
I
listening.
tried to go like this, and it went early and I hit it.
Bit of a debrief on the incident there, but
Good stuff.
there you go.
Start could be a little bit better.
Oh my god. A little bit.
Yeah. Well, we didn't stall now, so we are moving. But
Good insights there, and thankfully broadcastable insights as well. Always hesitate to hear the drivers immediately after the car. Language and adrenaline often go hand in hand. Ollie Goethe getting onto the scales. We will soon hear from Ollie as well. But he looked like he was buzzing when he got out of the car, and so he should be, because it was a well-earned victory. He's looked strong all throughout the pre-season. He was very coy at the pre-season tests. He said, "Look, it's only testing. I don't want to get my hopes up." He looked great in free practice yesterday. Still, he was coy. Yesterday did not go to plan, it must be said. He had a brilliant qualifying, but first race was not as good as race 2 has been. Here is Sebastian Ogard, though. The new helmet, the Vare Carbon lid, taking him to third place in race 2 of our 3-race weekend in Euroformula Open. Fred Lubin taking second place. These 2 drivers, Ogard and Lubin, will be our front row come race 3. Oliver Goethe, though, is our race winner for Team Moto Park. Let's hear from him now.
Oliver Goethe, winner of race 2. Today, this morning, it went better.
Yeah, better than yesterday. I still had a bad start, so I need to work on that for sure. But the pace again was really good. And yeah, because of that, I managed to get the win.
Still an interesting moment with Alex Peroni.
Yeah, obviously I cut him up really quickly, and I wanted to get past him as quick as possible. Yeah, it was a tricky one because he defended on the inside, and I tried to go back on the inside. but I felt like he braked very early, and I tried to avoid it. But yeah, I'm sorry for him, but yeah.
That's racing, but it's good move for the championship.
Yeah, it's great for the championship. I got to concentrate race by race and try to do the same this afternoon.
Well done, all the best.
So there's Oliver Goethe's take on the incident. And let's see the highlights in full. Peroni got a good start. Goethe did not get a good start at all from the second row of the grid, I should say. Peroni with a clear lead in the first couple of corners. Everyone cleanly through turn 1. Turn 6, however, we saw a collision between the 69 and 22 cars. Lomco and Marinangeli having a bit of a coming together. Goethe, once again, fighting from underneath, climbing through the order. Ogard got the word that he had to let the 78 car by because he made a move off circuit, and that allowed Oliver Goethe to pounce and go around the outside at turn number 1. Here is another move from Goethe. It's basically an Oliver Goethe showreel, these highlights, because he was making moves all day long, up to second at the expense of Fred Lubin, and then he went hunting for Alex Peroni. This was the key moment, though. Peroni was going to the outside, Goethe was going to the inside. They met in the middle, and well, more damage to Peroni than Goethe, both in track position and damage to the car itself. But Goethe would continue on to win. A bit of a moment there, a snap of oversteer from Philip Ugram pushed him down below Francesco Simonazzi in the closing stages of the race. Oliver Goethe, though, would drive off into the distance and claim the win. Lubin, Ogard, Peroni are top 4, Josh Mason in 5th, but the happiest man of all, Ollie Goethe and his support crew down there at Moto Park. We see there the drivers on the podium, Ogard and Lubin already there, and here comes the man of the moment, Oliver Goethe, giving a hand there to Seb Ogard. And applause from the team boss. Always good when you've got his approval. The team rep is up there, and we will now hear the national anthem.
Congratulations, Oliver Goethe.
Flashbacks to the days of Jan and Kevin Magnussen's junior careers. They're hearing the Danish national anthem with a Dane on the top step. Ollie Goethe will be delighted with his result there. The trophies now being presented. Ogard there lifting his. Third place for the young Dane, who, as we said, will be on the front row, along with Fred Lubin by the time we get to race 3. So keep an eye. This is a representative from the Portuguese Federation. Actually, yes, spoke to that gentleman yesterday. So great to see that the national motorsport body supporting us here at Euroformula Open this weekend, presenting the trophies to the team rep and the drivers. And Ollie Goethe receiving the biggest trophy of all, his first win in this championship. The silverware collection from 2022 only gets bigger. Congratulations to Ollie. And they will now get some photographs before the champagne. I'm sure the driver's eager to try and maybe get a competitive advantage by making some sticky race suits on the podium. The champagne will pop. Fred Lubin exits stage right, as will we. The Autodromo de Estoril hosting another brilliant race in Euroformula Open. Congratulations, Ollie Goethe. You're going to need to have a dry off, though, aren't you?
Is it?